Hey there, welcome back. In this video, we're going to learn about normalizing. We'll learn what normalizing is, when to use it, and how to understand the parameters and set them up appropriately. We'll also test it out on a track so you can see what kind of difference normalizing makes to your work. Normalization is the process of increasing or decreasing the amplitude or volume of your recorded signal. Basically, it raises the volume of your entire track so that the highest peak reaches a decibel level that you set. Now, why would one normalize? Typically, normalization increases the amplitude of the audio waveform or the volume of your signal to the maximum level without introducing any distortion. But keep in mind, if there's already distortion in your input, then that's going to be normalized too. Normalizing doesn't clean any of that stuff up. It just increases or decreases the volume. Normalizing is not a fix for audio that was recorded at unusably low levels to begin with. Let's say if you mic'd a vocal without a strong enough preamp signal. Normalization applies a constant amount of gain to the selected region of the recording to bring the highest peak to a target level. It's usually set at 98% or minus 0.3 decibels. Normalization applies the same amount of gain across the track so that the relative dynamics and the signal-to-noise ratio are preserved. It's quite different from compression, which changes the gain applied or reduced depending on the threshold and ratio settings. Normalization is often used when remastering audio tapes for CD production in order to maximize the signal level while not changing the signal-to-noise ratio. It's often combined with dynamic range compression and hard limiting to increase the apparent volume of the CD. Normalizing can be saved for mastering, but it doesn't make your tracks equally loud because the loudness depends on the average signal level, not the peak. During the mixing process, you'd want to normalize after you've added the rest of your effects, but you need to make sure you leave some headroom for the mastering process. In fact, when I use normalizing, I only take it to about minus 3 decibels and save the rest of the headroom for the mastering process. Normalizing is not what you need if, for example, you've got recorded levels on a track that fluctuate a lot. So let's say you've recorded a vocalist without great mic technique. She keeps coming in and out, and not for emotional reasons. It's going to sound funny if you normalize it. In that case, you need compression. I am just taking a look at the peak amplitude of a selected range. It's about minus 6. Now let's see what happens when we apply some normalizing. Audio, process, scroll down to normalize. Now we select the level. I'm going to leave it at minus 0.5. We see that that's about 94%, and let's click process. And as you can see, the waveform looks higher. Let's take a statistics measurement again and see what's happened. And sure enough, our peak amplitude now measures minus 0.5. Let's click close to get out of this window. Let's have a listen to the normalized selection. There was an old lady who swallowed a fly. I don't know why she swallowed a fly. And now let's listen to it without the normalization. I'm just going to press Ctrl-Z to undo. There was an old lady who swallowed a fly. I don't know why she swallowed a fly. As you hear, the signal is increased in both volume and background noise. Generally, I don't use normalizing so much in music work, but for voiceovers, I use it after I apply compression. And this concludes our tutorial about normalizing.